Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm glad you're here. Happy, let's say today's Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. I'm Rita Hickman, body mind expert, shiatsu massage therapist, and I help women who are in narcissistic and toxic relationships really kind of change their life. So today we're talking about whether narcissists can repent. One of the things that I spend my time doing, whether I like it or not, is um, reading reading up about narcissists and other people's opinions of narcissists and other people's experiences with narcissists and advice. And it's smart for me, since this is what I do, to see where are people at, what are they going through, what experiences are they having, have things changed. I'm not someone who rests on my laurels. I always want to keep things really like current and fresh, so I'm always reading this stuff. But typically what I see is that there's so much anger, and there's so much negativity, and there's so much emotional violence on both sides of a narcissist relationship. And when we look at both sides coming at a relationship from a place of viciousness, and from a place of such a place of deep anger, you know and when I see people in my position encouraging people to stay in that anger, encouraging them to not find peace inside themselves, fueling those fires, it frustrates me, because you know they're all different types of narcissists, and some are very genetically wired that way, and they've got no empathy, and there's no way they'll ever have empathy. And if they were even worse, then they would be a sociopath or a psychopath. If they were even more cut off from the feelings and realities of people around them. But most people aren't at that level of narcissism, where they are completely incapable um, of being a halfway decent human being. Now, on the other end of narcissism, we have people who are more on the Asperger's and autism spectrum, and they're narcissistic because that's how their brain is wired. I mean, literally, their focus is completely inside their head, and they're unaware of what's going on around them. Now, they behave in ways which are narcissistic, which are self absorbed, which are completely about someone's own experience and unable to understand or connect with anybody else's experience. That's something that's in there. But in between those two, we've got some wiggle room. We've got some wiggle room. And so, can a narcissist repent? Can they recognize and acknowledge and heal and move forward? Absolutely. But the only way that someone who is in that wiggle room can move forward is when they get a couple different versions of love, not just warm, fuzzy, compassionate love, but also tough love. When someone cares enough about someone else to say, no more, I'm not going to allow you to treat me this way. I'm not going to vilify you. I'm not going to turn you into a monster. However, here's what I will allow. That's a version of tough love. When we hold on to this idea that other people around us are evil, or other people around us are unable or incapable of ever evolving, of ever growing. I think that gives all of us a disservice, because it's I used to teach kindergarten, and one of the things I learned in kindergarten is that here are these children, and they can go in any direction, any sort of direction. And we can take what they struggle with, whether it's ADD or ADHD or bipolar or family situations or PTSD, and we can take these things and we can give them experiences which will help turn it around. Now, that's true about adults. I mean, they used to think that adults, their brains didn't grow. And then they found out all about neuroplasticity, how we're always rewiring ourselves and rewiring our nervous system, how we're always, our body, everything's different in our body every 7 years, how even into being elderly, our brains are still making new brain cells. So, many times a narcissist is a narcissist for many different reasons, but as life happens, as they're able to start surrounding themselves with people who do not let themselves be victims, who don't come from the codependent victim mindset, who are in a place of being healthy and happy, who know how to set boundaries, who know how to hold people accountable for a higher level of being. You know, when they start surrounding themselves with people who have that ability, and have that level of compassion, narcissists start to evolve because they're able to finally get what they need. But a lot of it can't be done by one person. This is about a community. This is about how, as a community, we start turning around and looking at people who struggle with emotional and mental health, and we stop vilifying them, and we stop calling them evil, and we stop cutting them out of everything. Instead, we start saying, you know what, this is acceptable, this is not acceptable, here's the action, here's the consequence, and you are not an evil person. You're struggling with a mental health disorder. Let's see if we can help you figure it out. And, some narcissists, they've lived a long life of, really getting these beliefs ingrained in their head, about how to behave and who they should be and what works and what doesn't work. But, there's a real miracle to the universe. And the miracle of the universe is that there's so much that's happening around us that we're unaware of. Our bodies are growing and evolving. Narcissists, when they're at key points in their life, where transitions are possible, when they get the support that they need, when those transitions naturally open up, there can be a shift. I've had a number of narcissists in my life, and as painful and destructive as they are, many times they have moments of grace. And so the idea is, how do we encourage and open up these moments of grace? How do we help people who are ready to live their life differently but just don't know how? How can we truly support them? How can we help them through this process? Because if we start, having these isms, like, when we have racism, we look at people as different from us and flawed or wrong in some way, or sexism or phobism of any sort. This is the same thing about narcissists. People are looking at narcissists from a position of victimization, of being victimized. And they aren't looking at it from a place of strength and evolution, and 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 helping be the guiding light for the people around them. Many victims, they try to talk to people and tell people what's been happening, and everybody, it seems like everybody says, no, you're wrong. You're crazy. And that's true in a small circle of people. But there are people out there and groups out there that can help you learn how to not be a victim, and can help you actually find peace inside of yourself around the idea of narcissism. Because as long as we as long as we look at parts of our population, such large parts of our population, as throwaway, whether they were victims or victimizers, usually it's so entangled and complex you can't figure it out. As long as we look at them not by giving people a pass, and saying, well, that's just the way they are, and not by allowing ourselves to be victimized over and over, oh no, this is happening to me again, but by being healthy. When you're healthy, you help other people be healthy, including people who struggle. And if someone's in that transition point, if they're right on the edge in their life, you can have some pretty powerful influences. And as I said, there's a lot more going on. There's a lot more positive things going on and opportunities going on than we can see. It's never about how one person can change another person, because we both know at the end of the day that's really not happening. Everyone does have their own choice. Once we become an adult, we do get to have different influences. We do have more power, unless there's significant mental health or physical health. But generally speaking, we don't have to be victims. And when we start having tough love, when we start having structure and lines and self respect and self love, that's what starts to change the world around. Not by deciding that narcissists are the evil scourge on the planet, because we've all behaved like an evil scourge on the planet sometimes, but because we look at someone else through clarity. We say, yes, this is who they are, and how are we going to handle this? You know, and you don't have to help everybody. You don't have to be there for everybody. You don't have to, any of that. Because as I said, a lot of it's out of your hands. Many times you just have to do what the natural intuitive thing might be, which could be walking away, which could be going no contact, which could be never speaking to them again. That's tough love too. It could be, getting angry and blowing up. It could even be retaliation sometimes. You don't know how things are going to go. You don't know how different things will click into place. You just don't, because there's so much more going on. But if you hold true to your principles of who you want to be, of how you want to live, of how you want to love and respect yourself, when you do that, it has a powerful impact on the people around us, narcissists and non-narcissists alike, or people on the different spectrum of narcissism. It has a powerful impact. So it takes a community to help a community be healthy. We can't just keep looking at people as disposable. The narcissist can't keep looking at other people as disposable, and we can't keep looking at narcissists as disposable, because we're people. And one of the hardest things I ever had to embrace was when someone told me everyone's doing the best that they know how. And I never believed it. It was like, really, they could have done better. This is not the best that somebody knows how, but it is the best that they know how. And as a community, when we come together and love people and look at them clearly, without too much fuzzy wuzzy compassion, but we say, yeah, this is what you struggle with. What do we want to do about it? When we look at people clearly, the community, it becomes more whole. When we raise one person up, no matter who they are, we raise everybody up. So I'd like to suggest that we look at narcissists through a little bit different lens, not even for their own benefit, but for our own benefit. Because when the community gets healthier, we all get healthier. And when we abandon people, then we end up with the ugliness that comes when people feel completely abandoned because they're somehow broken and nobody wants them. I mean, that creates real problems. Okay. So if you're struggling with dealing with a narcissist in your life, I've got a whole library of free videos. Let me know. I'll send you the link. I've got this women's group that we meet every week, and it's just wonderful, just delightful. And I do one-on-one coaching as well for women who want to move a little bit quicker. If you're in the area, in the Chicagoland area, then we add in some body and energy work, some hands-on work, because it's really beautiful. It's a real kind of supercharges the healing a little bit. Okay, have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.